Welcome to STL City Showdown. I'm AJ. This is Steve. Hey, we won.
Woo! We're allowed
About
to
time.
do that.
I know. I don't even want to know how long ago it's been. But hey, it happened.
Dude.
So before we start,
do you know how many times we've won? You can quite literally still use one hand. Literally use one hand. God damn. One hand. That sucks. That sucks so hard. But you know what? We are not. I tell you what. Real quick, goal or no goal. This team is so bad we can't even manage to win the wooden spoon. This team is so bad we can't even win the spoon.
Oh man, it's funny you say that because that's what I was thinking tonight. So the wifey was there watching it with me, and I forgot what we said, but I ultimately said that, hey, this game is literally a championship for who wins the wooden spoon.
Yeah.
Now,
Good
some
grief.
fans, I got to say this because there's always somebody on Facebook that ends up complaining. You had sent me some screenshots. Somebody's going to say, well, can't you just enjoy the win? Can't you just support your team? You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry. We're just realistic people. Yeah, of course we had fun. Like when they scored the 2 goals, was I cheering? Heck yeah, I was. Was I sending you screenshots and thoughts and excitement? Of course, right? But I'm not going to pretend that this is somehow like a magically good team. Right now, I'm excited. Like, it starts now. Like a lot of times people think, okay, next season. Actually, you start the trend now. That way you go into the off season with the right kind of mentality and stuff like this. And so, yes, this is important. But I'm also not going to sugarcoat this. Right, Steve?
Right. Yeah, no, you can't. There's no moral victories here. Like, this was a great one-off match against like an AAU team, but like we still won. You still have to win. You still have to put your 11 versus their 11, and we still went out there and we still scored and we won. We scored literally more than the other team and we won, and that's okay. I think if we win out, it's easy now that we only have 4 games left. If we win out, we can get up to 37 points. That's as high as this team will go. 37 points. And the playoff line is 35 right now. So, again, not talking about playoffs, but at least we looked good. And when we get to some of our discussions later, we can talk about some of the aspects that we thought. But this was a positive. We've literally had this many positive games this year, and we can enjoy that.
So, on a side note, I heard that Chris with STL Soccer News was up in Montreal celebrating something.
Eating some poutine.
Yeah, whatever he was doing, like, I mean, celebrating up in Montreal, not too bad. Lucky duck.
I know, Chris, you got to tell us. Is it like, do they have like dry wine? I'm sure everything's warm. I mean, it's French. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But at least it's not Malort. At least it's not that. So.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know much about Montreal. The only thing I know is the wifey said today is that Montreal is kind of like little Europe, which kind of shows because, like, look at how many fans they had in that stands there for basically the second worst team. Right. Like, that's pretty impressive. I give them props, hats off.
We thought when Chris and I spoke at the Houston match, we were under the impression this would be a horrible game. It was like, oh, man, beautiful city. Chris's comment was beautiful city, horrible soccer. And honestly, I don't think it was horrible soccer. Like, clearly it's not, we won, but like, I thought overall, like at least the appearance of the match was okay. The W helps too. The 3 points are great.
Amen.
All right. So, before we get to this game, those of you that see that I post on Facebook that City had an event at the park Friday night called Pups at the Park. And this was a really cool event. And every dog that came, you buy special tickets. They got these bandanas. And I'm going to keep this because I like how it says the year. This is the first time they've done it. So this was for a City 2 match. And you could buy a dog ticket. You had to buy a dog ticket with a human ticket. And then you could buy another human ticket if you wanted to. And they quartered off the north end of the stadium just for the dogs and the humans. And then we were lucky enough to get some free tickets from my daughter participating in the City Futures program. So my son and his girlfriend and Josie, they had to go to the other side of the stadium. We didn't know that when we got the tickets. And it was just the dogs and the dog owners. And it was so cool. It was, of course, at City 2, so the stadium wasn't sold out, not a ton of things, people, but, like, probably close to 100 dogs inside of there, and I brought my giant golden doodle, and even he was, like, calm, and they had water stations set up for the dogs, they had a bunch of treats, they had, a picture opportunity for the dogs, and the coolest thing, AJ, is that I thought the dogs would have to, like, stay up on the concourse. No, they allowed the dogs to sit down so we could watch the game too. So, like, in the north end of the stadium, a bunch of dogs in there in the seats, just kind of sitting and chilling and like wondering what the heck was going on with their lives. And we stayed the first half, and our golden was getting kind of stressed, so we went ahead and left at the half. And the City 2 wound up winning in a penalty kick shootout later in the game. So like it was a good night overall. It was a beautiful night. The team really did a great job setting this up. Every dog seemed safe. There was a lot of city staff around. So I'm guessing if there was any kind of nonsense with some aggressive dogs, they'd boot them out. But we didn't get that. And it's just, I think you and I have targeted that the marketing side of this team are just like you can tell the
Absolutely.
marketing side just hits the head on the nail every single time. It's just the sporting side's not so great. So it's like a really cool social media team with the sporting problem. And this was a really cool thing. I really appreciate what the team did here. I looked up other teams have done it in the MLS, and of course the Cardinals do it where they have the dog night where they have the special tickets you can buy for the dogs. But like this was really cool because we got to bring our dog to a soccer match, and that was really neat.
So the first thing I started thinking about is, okay, you got all these dogs.
Yeah.
What do you do when they need to use the restroom? Do you go
The
down to the
city?
pitch?
Nope. Yeah, that would have been great. City actually had a section at the end that they had like a bunch of turf grass brought in. That was a pretty big section that the dogs could relieve themselves with. And then you had to clean it up, but our dog did it outside before we came in. So we didn't have to worry about that. You know, we cleaned it up, but we didn't have to worry about that side. But yeah, they actually had thought about that as well.
They brought in like fake turf or like
Yeah.
turf
Yeah.
turf.
Like
Okay, yeah.
grass. Like
Wow.
And one of the giveaways, and I didn't bring it down with me, it was like a St. Louis City leash. Probably one that they sell is really close to the ones that they sell in the theme store for like 20 bucks. They're giving those away too. So like more
Dang.
merch for people to see out in the wild. Again, marketing, just a great marketing team.
Hmm.
And again, this was really cool. It was such a good night. And the ticket people were a little aggressive outside because I thought we were going to try to sneak our kids in. But like, no, we don't know what we're doing here. But they were chill after that, and everyone had a good time. Even the dog. The dog was exhausted the rest of the night, which is awesome.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was my event there.
That's awesome.
Good on you, City, for putting this on. I'm sure there's a lot of liability with bringing a bunch of dogs in, but we had to like prove that there were shots and everything. But like, still, someone could accidentally do something and get hurt, but none of that. And everyone that was there wanted to be there because they bought a ticket for the dog. So like, no one was crabby. Everyone was cool in the stands. Everyone got to give the other dogs little scritches and loves, and it was just the best. It was just the best.
Oh man. Can you imagine next year, cats in the park?
Cats in the Cradle and Silver Spoon, buddy. Yeah. Bring your lizards to the ballpark, you know. They had like a halftime show where dogs doing tricks and stuff, and that was pretty cool too.
That's awesome. All right, you ready for our first game?
Let's do the game.
All right. So this is 3 shots. We're going to give 3 quick thoughts that we have, maybe make a comment, and then go to the next thing. So my first thing is you had sent me the lineup. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, Sangbin on the right wing, Celio on the left, Hartel probably in as the cam, and then Kloss up on top. I was like, ooh, I actually kind of like this lineup. Now, I'm not saying this is an all-star lineup. Like, this is not the lineup we want going into next year.
Right.
However, given the players that we have, I loved seeing that because I feel like we need Celio out there to help generate some stuff on the left wing. Hartel's a great playmaker, but I don't know. Celio just adds something magical on that left wing. And then St. Ben, he's so much fun to watch. He's so fast. And then Klaus, well, we saw what happened.
Yeah.
And I was just really excited about that. So that's my first shot.
Yep. Those are good ones. And my first shot goes along with yours because mine was I noticed there was a lot of running and effort. One thing that Critch was very critical about the team a couple of games ago was there wasn't a lot of running. He could tell that there wasn't a ton of effort out there. And like we mentioned before we started, what we saw with Olaf was a lot of complaining about effort and fitness and all this stuff, but then nothing changed. And within 2 weeks of Critch calling out the team for effort and wanting to run, and even the announcing team noticing it, I saw just the eyeball test. I'm not a professional, I'm not a trainer. The eyeball test was these guys were running down balls. They were getting open, they were beating their defenders, they were putting themselves in positions to score, and we hadn't seen that in a long time. And it was so glaring that, like I said, it was obvious that they're doing it more than they have. So, like, I noticed there was a lot of effort with this lineup, a lot of guys out there working hard. Maybe we're starting to shed some of those players that weren't giving a lot of effort, and maybe there were drags on the team. And now where we've getting seen, and I think I saw Antwi came in late in the game, so maybe we're infusing some of these younger players that are hungry as well. But yeah, my first shot was obvious running and effort with this lineup.
All right. My second shot is pretty much low hanging fruit, Klaus, man. I just think with what he did out there today just shows yet a reason why he may be worth another look at next year for sure. I mean,
Yep.
that little inside heel behind his left foot with his right foot pass.
Yep.
For the score. I mean, and that's the thing too, is there's a lot of players out there. Like, remember Adeniran? I guarantee you he would have tried to shoot it because that's all he would do. You know, when you have unselfish players that say, hey, I'm like lined up with the net, but I have some defense in front of me, but this other guy to my left is wide open. I'm going to make the pass. That's the kind of player you need. You need
Right.
a reasonably selfless player. Now, sometimes you do need to be selfish and take the shot, but I think Klaus usually knows when that time is.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah. I totally agreed with you, by the way. At some point in the match, I know we were just saying last week, got to clean house. We got to just look at all the players whose options are coming up and just say, thanks. Here's a free jersey on your way out. You know, enjoy the rest of your life. But like I was thinking, Klaus is probably, like you're saying, probably one of those players we consider bringing back. I don't know how we can rework his contract or we don't have him as a DP, but like he would be worth bringing back. You know, just step right down off that DP so we have that slot available. If he'll take that, probably won't, but it was really good to see him out there. And the announcers making comments about his effort, about the dynamic that he brings to the pitch, which it can't be replicated. You know, as of right now on this team currently constructed, it can't. You know, my second shot is also a player, and it's Durkin. And the reason why it's Durkin is, of course, he gets a yellow card doing some really crazy dumb stuff, just being aggressive, holds a player, basically drags him backwards, and then on a run of play, bad possession of the ball, and then is like shocked that he got a yellow. As soon as the referee blows the whistle, I say out loud, that's got to be a yellow. And sure enough, he pulls it out of his pocket. Of course it was a yellow. And of course it had to be Chris Durkin of all players. That was my second one because like name a more dynamic duo of Chris Durkin and yellow cards. Senseless yellow cards. Because, you know, he's I think he's on 5 because he had gotten suspended for a match. So 5 in a row now, and he's going to be suspended again. So he's got 4 left. Oh my God, he's got 4 games left. He's going to do it. He's going to get a yellow card in every match and then make him suspended for the next season. What, you not care? So I guarantee, look out, guys. Chris Durkin's getting a yellow the rest of these games. Oh my God.
My third and last shot, this is pretty quick and pretty obvious. So Falu Fall, I mean, what a defender. He made it look really easy. That little chip shot that beat Berkey, and then he basically prevented the goal. I mean, he was right there. He knew that, hey, had to defend the goal, which every defender should be doing, right? But he didn't hesitate. It was just all instinct. He had a good feel for it. And it turned out it was a really, really easy save, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's pretty legit, you know? So that's my
Yeah.
third shot.
Yeah. And mine is kind of with blocking shots is it's clean. We finally got a clean sheet for Mr. Berkey, and the announcers made a point several times to say it's been 20 matches in between clean sheets. 20 this season. And it's a travesty, and he deserves many more. So it's got to feel good. It's hopefully they celebrated Berkey and they got him that clean sheet. This is one of those nights where I think I told you he didn't have to do a ton of work because Montreal, as bad as we are, it was just abysmal watching them get that ball down to the final third. Berkey only had a couple of really difficult shots. I mean, it was almost a 2-1 match when their striker pinged it off the upright, but it's the way it went for us. And then, of course, whenever they got that, and they got the offsides after they scored, I was like, so that's what it feels like on the other side.
Yep.
So that's what it feels like to have a goal taken away on the other team. Oh, that feels good. That feels really good. Speaking of offsides, my daughter plays for a local U13 team. And this year, because now she's in 5th grade, the league, so before up like 2nd grade through 4th grade, they don't call offsides. But starting in 5th grade, they do. So far, she's had a couple of matches. They haven't really been calling offsides. There were teenagers working today, and it was 95 degrees. It was hot. These teenagers must have been upset they had to work on a Saturday. They were legit calling offsides. The referee had his two little brothers as the assistant referees running down the sideline, and they were legitimately calling offsides, and it was frustrating to the girls because they're still learning on offsides. And I kept thinking of the Ted Lasso line is, "Can someone explain offsides?" And they kept calling offsides. So again, it felt good to see another team have to go through that because that would have changed the whole dynamic. Around 80 minutes, they score, and now it's a match. But no, they didn't get that chance because, of course, they didn't.
I mean, thank goodness. I mean, and unfortunately, that's what happens with bad teams is those things tend to happen a lot. I mean, it happens to every team, but just when you have all these things just not fall your way, that's just the luck of draw. Unfortunately, we're a better team than they are. So what's our next game, Steve?
Okay. Can you believe it's been 3 seasons and we hadn't played Montreal yet? I think it's one of the only teams we haven't played. So because not only is it the first time that we played them, the first time we played them, we went to Montreal to play. I figure why not learn a little bit about Montreal? So I've got some questions, and I've got some kind of true or false type questions that you're going to answer. If you get it right, congratulations, you get a bing, you get a point. If you get it wrong, however, you're going to have to read a term regarding soccer in French that I will send to you, and then we'll have to see how well you can read French. So one, you're going to have to get this facts right. And I may lie. I may say you got it wrong like Bill Murray in Ghostbusters and just give you the buzz anyway. But I don't have to find out. All right.
Let's hear it.
Number 1. Montreal is the 2nd largest French-speaking city in the world, only following Paris. So the entire world, Montreal is the 2nd largest French-speaking city in the world.
Well, Montreal's kind of small, right? So I'm going to have to say no.
That is wrong. Montreal is the 2nd largest French-speaking city in the world because they are a French Canadian province. So you got that one wrong, bucko, so you should have a message from me. So go ahead and read that term out loud. And this is all in French. These are French terms.
Oh, and I hate French language. No offense to the French people out there. Sorry. We just got canceled by like half the population.
Hey, by the way, we grew up with Looney Tunes and Pepe Le Pew. So go ahead and put on your best Pepe Le Pew. You got the trail of fumes behind you. Ho, wee, wee, you know, that kind of nonsense. Oh, see that right there?
Let's see.
Nobody expects the French Revolution, you know, that kind of nonsense. All right, let's do it.
Okay. Oh, Les City.
Nah, man. And then the term was Go City, and it's Allez City. Can we say that together? Allez City.
That's not even a word. That's not. It's Allez. How is that said that way?
Allez City. Allez. All right. So again, Montreal is the second largest speaking. So, okay. Number two, the official dish of Montreal is the hot dog.
Okay,
French love
see,
their
that
hot dog.
seems so ridiculously crazy. I'm just gonna have to say yes to that because that just seems so like backwards and random. Because why not?
No, that is false. No, and I'm gonna send you this. You should have fun with that. Let's see. I mentioned it this broadcast actually. It's actually poutine, and that is fries, cheese curds, and gravy. Although steamies, or what hot dogs are called, are popular, poutine is the official dish of Montreal. So again, it is cheese curds and gravy. I would think with it being a French city, they would have very nice food.
Okay. So let's try this. I'm going to try this here. Ready? So I know Les Mis. So Les, I know this part. Like Les Garden Est in battle. That's what it says. That's literally what it says.
No, it does not.
Ugh. French.
You uncultured swine. And what you're trying to say is the goalkeeper is unbeatable. And that is Le Gardien et am Batala. So, Le Gardien am Batable. See? It's easy. Come on.
Oh, you know what's so crazy about this? I'm actually, so in high school I did Spanish, but now because of the wifey, I'm actually trying to learn Hindi. And holy moly, other languages are super tough. Anybody out there who can speak multiple language, particularly if you learned it as an adult or a teenager, super props to y'all. All right, what's the third one?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And what you hear is like English as a non-English speaker is incredibly difficult because of all of our stupid spellings. And why does knife have a K? You know, that kind of nonsense. Why does light have a GH? As an English teacher, I've had to teach like phonetics, and it's just like the worst. It's just the worst. But like, okay, this is really cool. And then those of you that have visited Montreal, I'm going to ask my in-laws if this is true or not. We're going to find this out. The Montreal metro system uses tires instead of steel wheels. So like the train. So the Montreal metro system uses tires instead of steel wheels. True or false?
Well, it has to be true.
It is true. The trains run on rubber tires for smoother, quieter rides. The French don't tolerate jostling, I guess. Let's see. Oh, you got it. Bing! Congratulations, you got one.
Woo!
You know what? No, you're still going to have to say this out loud. Yeah. Because you got it right. You got to say it.
Carton Rouge.
You got to say it with a nice French accent, though.
What's a French accent? I can't even say French words, more or less accent.
You just got to put a huh on things. Carton Rouge. And that is, what do you think that is?
A type of wine?
Red card.
I was kind of close. Red wine.
All right. So you just got to keep doing that. All right. Montreal's bagels are boiled in maple syrup before being baked. Montreal's bagels are boiled in maple syrup before being baked.
That's kind of weird. Let's just go no.
No, that is absolutely true.
That is weird.
That's why they're sweeter and thinner than New York bagels. So if you've been to Montreal, you should have gotten a bagel that's apparently boiled in maple syrup. Now, when my in-laws came back from Montreal, they had a bunch of like maple treats, and it's because everything is maple up there. And like they have like these maple like bars, and I bit into one and I thought I instantly got a cavity because it turns out to be pure maple syrup in like candy form. And it was just like, get that trash out of here. It was just the worst. All right, you got one waiting for you.
Victory pour Saint Louis.
No, I'm not accepting that. You have to say it offensively. Oh.
Huh?
Victory pour Saint Louis. Now, what do you think that is? I think that one's pretty easy.
Victory finally for St. Louis.
Victory finally for St. Louis. All right, let's see. Just a few more. This is really cool. We're learning a little bit about cultures. The CF Montreal mascot, so the team we just played, the CF Montreal mascot is a giant moose named Jean-Claude.
I hope that is so true. I'm going to say that's true because it has to.
That is
Come on.
none. That is none.
No, that's
yeah. But here's the thing: it's even kind of even worse, and we need to look it up. Their current mascot is a blue creature called Tic Tac.
what?
You got to look that up while I am
They
sending you
missed
this.
it.
They missed the obvious one, right?
How is it not a moose?
Sorry about that one. Got another one coming your way. Nice little French here. Boop.
Oh, man. Siesta on but magnify what? How do you have a Q in there?
I left the E off the very end. Sorry.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Yep.
QE?
C'est un bout magnifique. C'est un bout magnifique.
Oh.
That's a magnificent goal. We had 2 of those tonight. And let's see, one more. Let's do one more. How about that?
Hit me, baby, one more time. Say that in French.
I can't. Hit me, baby, one more time. You know, you got to shrug your shoulders. You got to twirl. You got to twirl your little creepy mustache. Yeah. All right. See, caricatures are fun. All right. I'm an Italian guy. Like, I get it. All right. Mario haunts me all the time. Montreal has more churches per capita than Rome. So I got to figure per capita.
Isn't Rome just like
small...
one? Isn't one giant?
There's like 1,000 churches in Rome.
I'm going to say yes because, yeah, absolutely. Canada.
Okay, and that is true. It is known as the city of 100 steeples. So there are tons of churches. And that's one thing my in-laws at comment. There's a church on almost every corner. Like you can't escape religion. You know, I would have a fit there. So like you just so like yeah, it's called the city of 100 steeples. All right, let's do a fun one. No, let's see. Montreal is on an island. True or false? Oui or none. Montreal is on an island.
Peninsula.
Says island.
Is it really? No way. I'm fact checking this. This is no way. How? Ah, crap. What?
Uh-oh. So it sits on an island in the St. Lawrence River. Man, now
that is so weird. That's awesome.
All right. Well, hold on now. For the last one, I'm going to have to get you a fun one here. So I sent you let's see, one more phrase you need to look up. One you need to say.
On domenti la match. Matche.
Match. On do mean la match. On domin la match. We're dominating the match because we did. All right, so we learned a little facts. We learned that they apparently drip everything in maple. Their trains are on wheels. They're on an island. You learned that today. Montreal is indeed an island. Lots of churches, and their mascot is not a moose, which I don't understand why is
such a miss. Ugh.
If only they had city's marketing team. If you have more than one, then you got that weird conversation. What's plural of moose? Is it meese or moose? It's moose, but is it meese or moose? Mises, mooses. And then no one wants that.
It's Mises.
No.
It's Mises.
English is hard. What else are we doing tonight? You know what tonight's fun? This is the first time in a long time where it wasn't like, are we just done complaining?
Honestly, I think so. I think what we should do is let's go ahead and do a couple goal or no goals, and then we'll see it out. Goal or no goal.
All right. Well, so right now, not only is Montreal's mascot not a moose, for some reason it's like a dog. For some reason it's this weird dog looking thing. Like that's their mascot, which whatever. But you're right. Should have been a moose. All right. What's your first goal or no goal? As you like to say. Oui. Poutine.
So I think this is pretty straightforward, and it's just kind of a talking point that everybody's going to be saying. 90s lyrics on Reddit said, finally a fun game to watch beginning to end.
Man, I'm going to say no goal because there were plenty of times where that game was a drag. There wasn't, because neither team was passing well, but it was a fun conclusion. It was fun when we scored. There was a lot of build for us, and then we actually won and a clean sheet. So that's what I will say. That I will say no goal with an asterisk. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much, I kind of agree with what you're saying here. I think I'm kind of looking and I went through the post-match thread on Reddit, and pretty much that's what everybody's pretty much saying, right? And I have one controversial one for you, but I'll save it after your goal or no goal.
Let's see. On Discord, Nolan says, my gosh, we finally won a game. What is this? So goal or no goal, like what are these W's we can put after a match?
Yeah, of course it's a goal. It's like, what? Where did this come from? Of course, I think everybody's excited. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. It's one of the worst things. Let's be honest, right? Like anybody who's listening to this podcast or any podcast for City, you are a true fan through and through. And if you're watching these games, you must be a true fan, right? A casual
Yes.
fan probably isn't typically watching these games unless they're being forced to. So the whole thing is that, what was I saying? Lost train of thought there.
Just that it's fun.
Yeah, it's definitely fun, and I think that's what everybody's seeing here. And going into the off season, right? Like it's miserable when you have a really crappy team, and all off season you're thinking, I hope City at least performs mediocre next year. Like literally, my expectations are kind of low because even mediocre is going to be way more entertaining than what we've seen this
Yes.
season. Now, I'm not going to give them a pass. I'm not going to say, okay, you give me a mediocre team that's like, you know, gets, 45 points at the end of the season. No, I'm not going to like give the ownership a pass. Like
No.
I want to see our team in the top, 5, maybe 6 teams. I don't want to see a ninth or 8th place team, right? Like we need
No.
something more, but still, at least it's a little bit more fun. So I got one for you, and this is actually a little bit more controversial. So this is going to be a little bit more fun than something really low hanging fruit. Diligent Map 1402 on Reddit says, "Pay the money for Avalon, please. He's well worth it."
You know what? I'm gonna say that's a goal because I actually thought I God darn it. I can see why it's controversial because his defense is really sus. But he's pretty good on the scoring side, even though he's a defender. But we would pay him to be a defender. So I'm gonna say no goal. I'm gonna say no goal. He can go back home. He's great. Not great. He's okay now, but like he's gotta go home. Sorry. It's not gonna work out long term. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, so I'm going to say no goal here, and here's why. This is the crap that we put up with. This is what the Cardinals did for last,
Yes.
like,
God damn it.
5, 10, 12 years, whatever it's been,
Yeah.
right? They say, hey, we have this player who's okay. You should be happy to have him. I'm sorry. Like, I think Valm's probably a great person, and he could be a good player, but there's got to be better players out there. Now, would I want him on the bench? Absolutely, because he probably literally could play any position. I don't know about goalkeeper, but at least the infielders or outfielders rather, he could definitely probably play any of those positions. Like if you need him as striker, he probably could fit in a pinch, even though there might be better options. But he's very versatile. He'd be great off the bench. But you cannot tell me that he's your best choice out there.
No.
We need to put players like him on the bench. Toychert, right? How he played this year, we need to have players that puts him on the bench.
Yes.
Right? Like we can't have these mediocre. I'm sorry, I know you're going to hate this too, and this is going to hurt you to your soul.
Don't do it.
Players like Durkin and Morales, like we need something way better than that. We need some really. I know he's dying over here.
You know what?
He just no gold me.
What a hack. I tell you what, if we could get someone better and this fucking team wins, Chris who? I would gladly take the picture you have printed for Chris Durkin with our little slogan there, and I would paste someone's face over it as long as we're winning. It's my boy until he's not. Yep.
Well, I said this a long time ago, right? Like we said this so many times this season that I don't care about the players. I care about winning. If you got rid of Berkey and you won, Berkey who?
Yeah, it's about the crest. Right. It's not about the name on the back, right?
Absolutely.
And I think you're spot on. I've been saying there is a tendency for the older soccer fans in this city to bring in the best fans in baseball attitude from the Cardinals. Oof. Where you have to toe a line and For some reason, the millionaires and billionaires that own the team need reverence, and we need to never argue with them, and they can tell us to accept mediocre players because occasionally those mediocre players will do good because we'll just keep coming in. And luckily, soccer skews younger a lot of times, and a lot of the younger fans are not following that line. A lot of the younger fans are understanding you can't possibly do that. And the fact that someone is already, because that's what happens, it's frequency bias, because he scored tonight, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yep. I hate that.
And we're forgetting he's given up a lot of stuff. He was not great on defense tonight. But because he scored, sign him. You know, and that's a shame because that is, like you said, that is people not paying attention to reality and being careful with their money. So, I've got one. Vincent from a Facebook page says, friendly reminder, this is the third game in a row not giving up a goal after the 75th minute. The streak is hot. Goal or no goal.
Well, I guess this is one of those moral victories for the season, right? At least we're trending in the right direction, you know? So I guess maybe a weak goal, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Is it like you celebrate your dog not peeing in the house 3 days in a row and then he pees on the floor and then you're like, well, we got those 3, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
That is quite the bar that we have lowered ourselves to as fans, where it's like, oh, we're not giving up goals. You know, we've been so bad at scoring and then immediately giving up a goal. I was watching the clock. Once we hit 3 minutes, I was like, oh, after we scored, I was like, maybe we won't give up a goal, because that is our thing, where it's like we give up a goal, you just watch the clock, you know it's going to happen the next minute and a half, but it didn't, and we got to watch that.
Yeah, I don't have any more goal or no goals.
I got another one for you. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hit it.
Which, by the way, we're back on form. Since Critchley took over last week, where we only scored 1, was the only game that since he's taken over, where they haven't scored at least 2 goals. I mean, this team is at least scoring goals. Now, that's pretty cool.
Sure.
All right. So, also from Facebook, I don't have the person's name. City 2 is first in points. If Critchley isn't the answer, Hackworth for, I guess, our head coach.
That's so tough. I know Hackworth would jump at the job, because who wouldn't, to be honest? Who wouldn't? What I have to kind of wonder, right, is, now I know this was Lutz era, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they passed over Hackworth. So I guess it just depends, honestly, what's out there. Because that's part of it too. It's like, it's not always like, should I hire this guy? But it's also, can I find somebody better? If they can't find somebody better, then absolutely, like, give Hackworth a shot. If you bring in a sporting director and he knows a great coach that's available, you pick them. It's that simple. Right. It's the best person for the job. It's not yes or no, should it be Hackworth.
It's got to be the best
no goals
person.
Any of that crap.
Right. It's got to be the best person to fit the sporting director too, because is Diego going to hire the head coach? And then the sporting director comes in, he's like, who's this clown? Get him out of here. And then we got to go through this all over again. Like, it's going to be a mess. You know, this team seems to be extremely dysfunctional, but tonight was a fun night. Too bad it was in a different country and we didn't get to celebrate it. But hey, we get LAFC coming in here. So that's not going to be good for us, but we get to see a Tottenham player probably score on us, which will be cool-ish. Oh man, LAFC's coming. Oh my God, that's going to be so bad. All right. Anything else?
I don't have anything else. I mean, we're just all happy about the win, and
this is good, man.
Let's rock it.
That's good. All right, so I guess put on a smile. Find your neighbor, go walk up, give him a high five. Actually hold his hands and a high five embrace, look him right in the eye, you get real close to him, like 2-3 inches away. You can feel each other's breath. You think maybe we're gonna no, you're not going to because you don't know him that well. But you're gonna look him right in the eye and you go, offers any better, and then you push him out of the house and you run away. And that's how you do it, and that's how you make lasting friends. It's from your friend.
I should
Steve.
try that sometime.
You should definitely right now go out. It's nice and dark, where everyone loves boogie time, and you go up to them like, hey guys, and then you do it, and then you grab them by the hands, and and then and then you run away. Especially being in Missouri, where everyone is very calm and chill, and they don't have 1,000 guns. Like, you would have a good time. You guys would be best friends. instantly.
Wow.
No.